We're going to do the same thing we do every Sunday, try to take over the world. But not the whole world, just our world, because that's the one that's important, right? And this presentation is Metaphysical Studies and Universal Laws. Not just for the sake of knowledge, not just for intellectual knowledge, but so that you can use this in practical application in your everyday life to gain more control and have the things you want. And it's important to me that you have everything that you want, because I feel like how you navigate in your life, how easy things are for you, affect how easy things are for me. It's like, before it was thought to be impossible to run a 5-minute mile. Then somebody did it. Now people doing it all day. My son does it, weekly. It's one of the easiest things. So we're that connected. And that connection is what I want to talk about. So first of all, I've been put on notice that I don't have as much time as I thought I would. But we ain't gonna worry about that. I'm gonna get through this. It's gonna be good. I'm feeling really powerful today because my week was absolutely excellent. I have been blessed with the opportunity to reconnect with my son, who is 24 years old. And we kind of had a parting of ways when he was about 16. He went to live with his dad. No bad blood or anything like that, but I kind of went off on my own spiritual journey. And in doing so, I have learned so much, and I feel like I'm getting a second chance to impart some of this wisdom on him that I didn't know before, because I was unconscious. I was operating under the assumption that I was at the mercy of the world around me. And what I've learned is that I'm only that if I allow it to be, that I don't have to react to everything that happens, that it's not happening to me, it's actually happening for me, and I'm creating. And as usual, Orion gave me a wonderful, perfect segue into this week's subject matter, but I'm going to recap quickly about last week. So last week we discussed that you're basically a ghost, okay? And you're navigating in a flesh, blood, and bone apparatus here on the earthly plane. And we visited the matrix outside of our physical body. And when we imagined ourselves as this nebulous mist, now I did it in the shape of a body just to help the brain to kind of connect with this. But if you kind of know that your energy and that your vibration, you know that we're all touching right now vibrationally, okay? Our vibration extends out about 32 feet beyond us, in a radius, right? So we're basically all touching, but I did this illustration so that our mind can come to this quicker and easier since Adam cut my time down. And then we talked about this matrix, which is represented by these lines. It looks sort of like a net or like a mesh sort of barrier. And this mesh barrier is what connects us to everything and everyone. And just outside this net exists every possible thing that ever was, everything that is, and everything that ever will be, every single possibility. And through this matrix, or through our physical experience, our eyes and ears and nose, this matrix filters anything that we're not vibrationally attuned with or aligned with. So you're this huge mass of energy in this physical body. And this physical body represents your net, your filter. And the only thing that can get in is what you allow in. So let's say you say, I really would like a new car, but I can't afford it. Now, you could win a car in a raffle, but because you think that you have to go through a series of steps, you got to go to work to get the money, to get the credit, to do the application, to get the down payment, to get, because you think that you have to go through all of those things, you can't get that car any other way but through that process. Mm-hmm. Somebody else might say, like me, might say, I really like that Tesla. Really feeling that car. And it's just a matter of time, but that car is mine. That car is mine. And I recently bought a car. It wasn't a Tesla, but I recently bought a car. And the way I did it, I didn't even have a driver's license, okay? I did not have a driver's license. And I said, you know, this is crazy. This is crazy. I've had a driver's license since I was 24. Something happened, I ain't gonna go into that story, but something happened. I didn't have a driver's license anymore, and I said, okay, you know, the state is telling me that I gotta pay all this money to get my driver's license. And I don't wanna pay that money. All right, so look, universe, work your magic. I'm not paying that money, but I'm getting my license. And so I spent about $16 and got prepaid legal. And I called the attorney, I told her my story, and she's like, well, yeah, if you give me $500, I can take care of it for you. I can get you your license. And I just sat quietly on the phone because I love to do this trick where if somebody's talking to me and I feel like they have more information, I just stay quiet. And their brain goes on autopilot and they start to say things that they don't really mean for you to hear. And she started to think out loud. She said, or you can do it yourself. I mean, you could just go down and, they have this program that you can go through and, because you didn't have a moving violation and it was, a non-violent, situation, you could probably just pay the fine and get your license. Okay, thank you, I'll do that. And it cost me about $350. Within 2 hours after having that conversation, I had signed up for the class, went down to the place, still nervous because, I don't love the legal system, okay? I feel like, and I'm gonna have to change this feeling now that I'm speaking on this, but I feel like that is a situation where when you get involved in their system, you do put yourself under their control to some extent. And for that reason, I'm not necessarily fond of visiting courthouses, but I did. And I did it with confidence that I was gonna walk out of there with my driver's license. And it was a fiasco, so I could tell that I had some residue of resistance about this driver's license thing. But in the end, they gave me the paperwork, told me to go, go over to the DMV, get your driver's license. Still some residue because I get over there and she says, well, we need your MVR. I said, okay, is that something that you can pull up? She said, no, you'll have to, pay for it yourself and get it. And I said, okay, so where do I get that? And she started explaining to me. She said, oh, well, I see here that you have, an out-of-state driver's license. Your last driver's license was out of state, so you couldn't get it here anyway. You'll have to get it from the state of Indiana. So I thought, oh, shit. So I go on my cell phone and I go to the Indiana, they call it the BMV, and download my MVR. So I took my phone over. I said, here it is. She said, well, we have to have it printed out. I said, well, can I use your computer? Because I can email it to myself and I can. Now this, I'm down here using a computer. I'm online. I'm doing everything because I'm going to get my license today. That's my attitude. I'm not taking no for an answer. So I get the thing printed out. I go over to the lady. She says, well, your license is suspended. I said, not anymore. Here's my paperwork. She said, oh, okay. So she goes in, she starts doing the thing. Well, you have to pay another $350. And see, I love telling stories like this because it just shows you that, or it shows me that you just make a decision and the universe will unfold it's like a red carpet will just roll out in front of you and the answers will be presented. The answers were presented and I got my driver's license. And then I thought, okay, I'm gonna need some money to put down on this car. And I did have the money to put down on the car. I didn't necessarily want to spend it, but I had it. I thought I could buy the car, outright, or I could make payments, and I started trying to figure all of that out. And something said that you check your email. You are pre-approved for, zero financing for the first year. I said, okay, well, that's a sign, clearly. And long story short, within 2 weeks after making the decision, I had gone over a year without a driver's license. And within 2 weeks, just making the decision to have it, I had it because I had decided that I wasn't going to not have a car anymore. I'm done with that. I was in Buckhead on Peachtree Road. I loved being on the ground, walking around, seeing things that I didn't see in my car because I'm just whizzing by. But I was over that. I want to move, and I want to move fast, and I want to move in luxury. And so I did buy what I consider to be one of my dream cars. It's a Lexus. And it has all the bells and whistles, the wood grain and the navigation and all of that. And when I get in that car, it is a reminder that I create my reality. I created that car. As a matter of fact, I even said, whoever the engineer behind this car, thank you for creating this car for me. You know, all the people that built it, the whole manufacturing plant, they all came together so I could possess that car. And that's what I truly feel. You know, I feel like the universe put all of these people in the right place and made them conspired and made them all cooperative components so I could have that car. Same thing for the Tesla. Now, I don't know what it's gonna look like yet. You know, I'm not sure. I haven't picked a color, because one of the other things I've learned is that if I get too specific, then that thwarts my ability to manifest quickly, because then the more specific I get, the more components have to come together. You know, so it tends to take a lot more time. But anyway, your cocktail of 50 to 70,000 thoughts per day, or 35 to 48 thoughts per minute, becomes expressed in your physical reality. So you really do want to take control over your thoughts, because this is creating your world. It's creating your universe. And we experience this physical world through our sensation. Senses mixed with our vibration, sensation. And our senses are, of course, our vision, our hearing, our skin, this skin filter that we have, which filters out, it lets us know when we're in pain, or when we've been open and we bleed and things like that. Our suit, including our ears and our eyes and our skin, is the tool that allows us to experience sensation. The part that I feel we haven't given enough attention to, is the tool that is the brain. And for a lot of us, for many of us, for most of us, our brain, the tool, has taken over. It thinks it's us. It really does. And it's not. It's just a tool. And that sounds a little harsh, but that's really all it is. You don't see with your eyes, you see with your brain. That would explain how blind people can see with their hearing. They use clicks and different sounds, and these clicks bounce off of objects, and they know how close or how far something is away from them. They use sound to gather depth perception and to know which way to go and how to dodge things and avoid things. And so your senses are actually interchangeable. But because you think you only see with your eyes, that's the only part of your sensation or your senses that you'll use to vision things. But you really see with your brain, because you can close your eyes and see through your imagination. Okay? So if you're imagining, okay, if I want to buy a car and I go down to the dealership, they're going to want a lot of money that I don't have. That's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get to the dealership and they're going to say, hey, well, you need this amount of money, and you need this amount of credit. Do you have a cosigner? You're going to go through the same experience that you've imagined in your mind, to the extent that you believe it. Because the other part is that you have to believe what you're thinking. It's not enough to just... What I love is people who say, well, I've been doing my affirmations, but they're not working. Because you don't believe your affirmations. It sort of goes like, I am wealthy. And then this little voice in the back of your mind says, child, please, you ain't got no money. You can't even pay the rent. What about that cell phone? It's off. Like, what about the internet bill? You stealing internet from your neighbor. And you really have to talk yourself down. And the way I started doing this, I started this years ago. And I started to answer the voice back and say, listen, the grocery store is right down the street. And it's millions and billions of dollars worth of food in that grocery store. The grass that I pass by getting to the grocery store is edible. I'm walking on gold, silver, titanium, and platinum. No, I didn't dig it up. But it's there. I know it's there. I'm wealthy because I can breathe this air. And the air has internet in it. Mm-hmm. When I go and put gas in my car, I am touching a fuel source. I'm wrapped in wealth. I am wealthy. Almost like, fuck you. I am wealthy. And I actually have to talk, because that is not my voice. That's not my voice. That's my mama, my aunt, you know, some teacher, somebody was lamenting about how broke they were. And I picked up on that vibration and I adopted it as mine. And the brain said, okay, this is us. And I said, okay. And I went with it until I didn't anymore. And that being said, you have to be smarter than your brain. You have to. If you want to manifest, if you want to just get what you want out of life, you have to be smarter than your brain. So that was what we talked about last week. So this week, we're talking about law of attraction. But I changed it to law of agreement. And the reason why I changed it to law of agreement is because the law agrees with whatever you say, whatever you think, whatever you believe. The law agrees with it. You already use it, but you've been using it in a way that's unintentional. You came forward into being and, you know, you were this little baby that everybody thought they had to mold and work on and teach and train. And so they did. And unfortunately, you made a choice. You did, even when you were a little baby. You made a choice to buy whatever they told you. Hook, line, and sinker. You was like, yep, daddy said it, it's true. Mama said it, it's true. And what I've had to do with my mother, you know, she has certain beliefs. She grew up in a particular era. I've had to explain to her, not with her there, but because I hear her voice, I've had to say to her, well, you know, Mama, you didn't have internet when you were, you know, doing your thing, your career. You didn't have the resources that I have. You didn't know what I know, you know, and I don't have this challenge with my sexuality, with my gender, with my race. I just don't, you know. And my mother would like for me to admit that the white man is holding me back. And I just can't do it because the white man actually helps me a lot. So does the black man and the Asian man, and you know, everybody is here helping me. And I've decided that my life is a game. And you know who plays the game really good? Oprah. Okay, because Oprah don't let nobody in her inner circle that's not there to help her. No way possible. If you are not there to help her business in some way, you ain't, what we got to talk about? You know, and some people would say, oh, well, that's being a snob, or that's being, you know, selfish. Absolutely, it is. It is. And that's what you have to be to get what you want. You absolutely have to only allow in your matrix, in your net, those things that are here to assist you. It is not your job. It is not noble. It is not a great thing to downplay your greatness so that you can allow somebody else to feel better about their not greatness. It's not your job. Don't do it. They'll find their way some other kind of way. You don't have to allow yourself to put up with things that you don't like. You don't have to allow yourself to put up with things that you don't want. So what I'm going to do today is give you a real quick, because Adam shortened my time.
Take your time with your presentation, please.
I knew I was going to get that. That was me manifesting that. But I'm gonna give you a how-to guide to get what you want in the major areas of your life, okay? So we're gonna talk about, not necessarily in this order of importance, but these are the major areas of your life. Relationships, money, career, and spiritual, okay? That's the four things that people fixate on the most, and the places, the areas of their life where they want the most positive change. Okay, relationships. And this is all relationships, not just intimate relationships or romantic relationships. And really everything is relationships, because you have a relationship to money, you have a relationship to your career, so that's kind of all encompassing. Okay, I'm gonna hold it off because stuff is coming to me. Okay, what I wrote here, and I love that this came to me. Don't look for the right partner, look to be the right partner. I'm gonna let that resonate, marinate. You know, I'm gonna give that a pregnant pause. Don't look for the right partner. Look to be the right partner. Do we all agree that you attract who and what you are and who and what you believe yourself to be?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And so let's talk about what happens when you think you have found the perfect partner. For most people, off top, they start feeling inadequate. Soon as you out, you looking, okay, he gotta be this, she gotta be like that, she gotta be fine, she gotta have a big, and he gotta be rich, he gotta be balling, and he gotta have this kind of car and that kind of house. And you find that person. Very first thing you start doing, shape shifting, because you want them to like you as much as you like them. You feel inadequate. So now, your possession is not bringing you the happiness that you thought. Because you haven't done that work on yourself. And since self is the only thing that matters, self is going to determine what gets in through your filter. And so the fact that you thought that somebody else could complete you or make you better, it was such a lie. Because all that served to do was to let you notice all the things that you're not in comparison to all the things that they are. The next thing that I want to say about this is judge others the same way you judge yourself and vice versa. In other words, it's impossible to judge someone else without judging yourself. Impossible. You're the originator, you're the creator. We already said that, Orion, pointed that out. I said it last week. This is your matrix, this is your universe, this is your nebulous mist, waiting for your sensation in your body, the tool that is your body, to let in the information. And as the information is coming in, you're judging it. That's good, that's bad, that shouldn't be, that should be, somebody need to call somebody, I'm gonna tell, because that ain't right. We gotta march, there should be a law. And all of that judgment is your way of how you see you. I love, Tony Robbins has a saying, don't shit all over yourself. Because when you start judging, this should be, this shouldn't be, he should be doing this and she shouldn't be doing that, that's just a message for you. You don't worry about what other people are doing. You shouldn't be doing that. And you should be doing this. And if you're doing what you should be doing, you don't have time to worry about what somebody else shouldn't be doing. You just don't have the time. You don't have the energy. And at the end of the day, you don't care. It's not that important because you understand that they're where they are and you're where you are. And there's a reason why that person came into your sphere. They came to show you something. They came to tell you something. They came with a message. So if I'm judging someone and saying, I don't like those shoes. Okay, well, don't buy them. Don't you wear them. Don't dress like this person. Don't talk like this person. Don't be like that person. But love the fact that you get to make that choice and that they did too. They got to get up that morning and choose exactly what they put on their body and how they represent themselves. And when you take that choice away from somebody else, automatically you take it away from yourself. So if you got a girlfriend, a boyfriend, or a child, and see, do we have any parents in the house? Okay. Parents do not like this part. Parents do not. And I'm a parent. And I've started to alter the way I parent because parents think that they're here to teach their children. And your children are actually here to teach you. And parents don't trust that their children have the knowledge, the skills, and the abilities, just like they were given, to navigate the earthly plane. And so they're constantly running behind their child saying, you should do this, and you shouldn't do that. And I want you to be happy. I do. I want you to be happy. But you got to be happy on my terms. You got to be happy on my terms, and that'll make me happy. And when mama's happy, everybody's happy. Right? Right? Because your ability to navigate doesn't work as good as mine. I've been here longer. So you let me tell you how it is, and you'll just have a much better life. And the kid knows that they're free and goes, oh, no, I got this. And the parent is saying, but no, you don't understand. In my day, and the kid is saying, yeah, but this is my day. And that conversation is not being had verbally, but it is being had energetically. And so the parent go, how you doing? Oh, my child, he just won't listen. He won't listen. And I actually had this conversation with somebody. I said, well, do you mean that your child, and I said, well, let me correct that, because it's not your child, that's your daughter, but she's not a child. Do you mean to say that she won't do what you say? Because she heard you. She's listening. She don't want to do what you said. She just doesn't want to do. It doesn't fit with her ideal for herself. And what's wrong with that? What didn't you enjoy choosing? Well, I always listen to my parents. Okay, right. And by listen to, do you mean you heard them or that you did what they said? Because none of us really truly do that. You may try, and for those of us who do that more than they want to, they're very unhappy people, because they have not had the opportunity to experience their own freedom. That's the point of being here. You are so free, you can choose bondage. And a lot of people choose to be bonded to their kids, bonded to their parents, bonded to their dog, bonded to their job, bonded to their husband, bonded to their wife, and they can't figure out why they're not happy. I did everything you said, Mom. I went to college, I got an education, I got a good job, I got the man, I got the dog, I got the house, and I'm still unhappy. I'm still unfulfilled. Why is that? What is missing? What didn't you tell me? What parents seldom tell their kids is to be selfish. Do what you want to do. Live your life. I'm doing mine. I told my son, I said, look, I don't have time to be worried about what you're doing. I'm too busy loving my own life, okay? I'm gonna need you to go and have a good time. And this was at a point where he really felt he needed my advice. And so he didn't really like this conversation. But my point still remains, and it does to this day, that yeah, I have some things that I want to tell you, but I don't want you doing things because you think it'll please me. I want you doing things because you think it'll please you. And when it doesn't please you anymore, drop that and do something that does please you. Feel free. Feel free. So, in conclusion about relationships, be the perfect partner, business partner, marriage partner, parent partner, whatever partner, be the perfect partner and trust the universe to match who you're being by sending you the perfect partner for you. And let me just clarify, that doesn't mean that this person is going to be great all the time and you're going to skip through the tulips happily ever after. That means this person is going to bring you the right lessons to get you to the next level. They're going to help you bump your head. They're going to say things to you that hurt so you can drudge up something that you need to deal with. And they're going to teach you or try to teach you unconditional love. That's the point. The point is with happiness. Let me just say this before I go anywhere else. The point is you're already happy. You're covering it up with, I'm not happy with this. I don't like that. You're covering it up with judgment. You're already, it's kind of like being fat. You're already muscular. You just got fat on top of the muscles, right? You're already happy. Admit it. Just admit it. You're happy. Like, it's okay. Just admit it. So again, be the perfect partner and trust the universe to match who you're being, how you're being, and what you're being with your perfect partner. And let that person come to you and be your next teacher, and you be that teacher for them. Don't hang back. Step forward. Lean all the way in. Be fully present in that relationship and allow what comes to come and allow what needs to go to go. When it's time for it to go, don't hold on. Be happy for what you had and keep it moving. And if you do have one of these happily ever after relationships, then great. That person had all your medicine and you did the damn thing. Okay? Okay. This is my favorite subject. Money. I love the subject of money. And the reason why I love the subject of money is because people use money as an excuse for every damn thing. Use it for an excuse. Why you not doing it? Because the money. Why you didn't go? Because of the money. I ain't got the money. Where I'm going to get the money? People use money as an excuse for everything. And so one of the things that I do is I rob people of that excuse, because I can tell you a million ways that you can do what you want to do without money. And I start off by saying, same thing I said about happiness. Admit that you're wealthy. What is money? Money is fabric with letters and numbers printed on it. Okay, it's a cotton linen blend, and it's got some letters and numbers printed on it. It's a representation of energy, of time, of wealth, of knowledge. So, are you wealthy if you have energy, time, and knowledge? Are you? If you have what money represents, aren't you already wealthy? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. It's important to say that out loud. It's important to answer that question out loud and to hear yourself say yes when I ask you, aren't you already wealthy?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Are you already wealthy?
Yes.
Are you already wealthy? Adam?
Yes.
There's a reason why I do that. That helps that voice in your head that's lying to you, telling you, I ain't got, I don't have, I can't, I don't want, that helps that voice. Because what you said to me is, okay, you're right. When I go to work, my employer liquidates an obligation with money in exchange for the time and energy that I put in. So what's really valuable? Is it the dollars or is it my time? Is it the dollars or is it your time that's valuable?
Time.
Is it, thank you. Thank you. This is an interactive course, by the way. Okay? I call people up and ask questions, so if you shy, you might not want to come. So, back to the question. What's valuable? The paper dollars, the currency, or your time and energy? So you already have, you got the money inside of you. Now, what you choose to do with your time, because everything is about choices. We already said we're working with choices. What you choose to do with your time and the agreement that you make as to what your time is valued at and your effort is valued at. McDonald's is, in a situation where people are saying, okay, we want $15 an hour. They said, okay. All right, we'll give you $15 an hour. Then they fired 45% of their workforce and put in kiosks where you stand, same way you get your plane ticket at the airport, right? And you punch in what you want. And there's a little machine and you go over and it delivers your food. I'm paying you $15 an hour. That's what they say. I'm not paying you $15 an hour. I would rather get this machine to do something and you go and you do something better and higher with your time. If you feel like that's where you value that, that's fine, but not in McDonald's. Right? Okay, cool. All right. What's the next step? Okay, maybe I should get me a real job. And this goes back to something else I'm gonna talk about, but maybe I should get me a real job, because for some reason we think we gotta have a job to get money. But maybe I should get me a real job. Okay, my son just recently said, I'm not doing food service anymore. I don't want to do food service anymore. It's too stressful. The money's not good enough. This, that, and the other. And then he said, but I don't have any other skills. Now, of course, in my mind, I'm going, that is a damn lie. But I didn't say that to him because he got to figure this out. He got to figure. We did have a conversation about it, but I was hesitant to start judging, his assessment of himself, right? Okay, I gotta get me a real job. So what pays more than working at McDonald's? Most people go straight to office job. Office job. Okay, I'm gonna go be a receptionist. McDonald's paying me $8, I can be a receptionist, I can get at least 10. Right? I can get at least 10. Now here is what I discovered in getting a real job. I don't care what field you go into. After you get your education, after you take out all your student loans, and get all of your pieces of paper, and you owe everybody on the planet, and Sally Mae is calling you off the hook, okay? You're going to be in an entry-level position. And you probably gonna start out at $8 an hour. like you was making at McDonald's, right? So here's a little bit of my story. I go to school, I get a master's degree in computer information systems, and with a concentration in finance and accounting, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna leave school balling, okay? I'm ready. First job I applied for, and this is back in the 90s. First job by late 90s, like 98. First job I applied for, they said, we'll give you $8 an hour. What? I was like, what? Yeah, you know, it's a temp agency, and you know, and so, you know, it's a temp agency, what, you know, how do they make their money? Well, the job actually paid $20 an hour. They were just gonna give me 8 out of 20. So wait, you get $12 for hooking me up with the job, and I'm gonna go do the job, and all I get is 8? Nah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. And that was the first time I found myself in a negotiation, okay? And I didn't realize that at the time, but I was in a position where I didn't need money, so that served me, okay? So I could take a little bit of time and negotiate. I had a partner who was basically taking care of all the bills while I was in school. And so, you know, I was able to not be so hungry for the first thing that came along. Now I know that served me. But back then I was just kind of like, these people trying to railroad me. Like, what is going on? So I, you know, negotiated. Got an offer for $13 an hour to go and work for this new-ish computer company. They had been in business for about 5 years, and nowadays, 5 years in the computer industry, you're a seasoned vet. Like you've seen it all, you've done it all. But back then, this was before the .com boom. This was before all of that. So, you know, I was still kind of on the ground floor of that business. So 5 years in, you know, they still newish, and I go in and I get offered the $13 an hour. Well, okay, let me go back. It was with a temp agency. The guy says, I'll pay you $15 an hour. I said, okay, great. He said, but this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna pay you $13 an hour as you're on the job. If you complete the assignment, we'll give you the other $2 an hour retroactive at the end of the project. Okay, great, I can do that. I get it. You want some assurance that I'm gonna come back, because a lot of people do take a temp job, work for 2 weeks, and don't go back. And then it costs money to the temp agency to try to procure another staffer, another, you know, person. Okay, fine. Go through the whole process. It's time for me to graduate and get my $2 an hour. And this man said, I remember telling you that, but you didn't get it in writing. I ain't give you nothing. I was like, hold up. That punk wasn't even out back then, and I was still like, am I on Candy Camera? Are you what? Where do they do that? And he's like, look, listen, this is a lesson. You just need to make sure you get everything in writing. I said, you know what? This is gonna be a lesson to you. I went out in front of his office, and everybody who came in, I said, look, they're not gonna pay you. You're gonna go in there and they're not gonna pay you. And he, you know, he saw me do that to about 2 or 3 people. It didn't take him long. He came out there and said, okay, come on. All right, I'm gonna write you this check, but you know, this is really wrong for you to stand out here and, you know, try to kill my business. Dude, you just tried to like totally stiff me, you know? So here I am in another negotiation. I said, you know what? I want $3 an hour, just because you tried to play me. I want $3 an hour for every hour I work. He said, well, you're gonna take this check. You're gonna take this check, Richelle, and he slid the check across the table. I picked it up and ripped it up. Because again, I don't really need your money. I got the job. They hired me. You know, I got the job. So I ripped up the check, and he said, are you seriously gonna go out there and tell people that I don't pay them if I don't, you know, give you another check? Yeah. I have already called my new employer and let them know I need 2 weeks before I start on with them. And I'm gonna take those 2 weeks to make your life a living hell. Now that's not very, that doesn't cast me in a good light, okay? But at the time, again, this was a level of determination that I had, that we had an agreement. And not only did I put in my 100% effort, not only because even $15 still to me wasn't enough money for what I was doing, but I was willing to take it because it was almost double the $8 that I was originally offered. So I felt like that was a come up. And anyway, he wrote me the check, and I went on, took my 2 weeks off and went on. The part of that story for me was that the reason why I was able to get my money was because I didn't need it. Both times that I went in there saying, look, I don't really need the money, so I have time, I have energy to just sit here and negotiate this with you, and we can play this, we can take this to the full out extent. The fact that I was so adamant, and the fact that I wasn't so hungry, and they saw me as a good candidate, but of course, they're gonna try to get the bigger slice of that pie, right? So I had to see myself as valuable enough, and I had to take my time and allow them to see me as valuable and let them know I see me as valuable, so that they would write the check, make me an offer that reflects my skills and abilities. You know, hey, I just went and got this big old piece of paper, my mama proud, but you gonna tell me you gonna pay me what I was making at McDonald's? That made no sense to me. And what I feel like a lot of times is when people don't have that piece of paper, that then determines their lack of value in themselves. But even having a degree doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be any better at the job than the person who doesn't. The only thing that determines how much you make is how much you allow yourself to make. How much income do you allow into your life? And if you're hungry for it, and if you're constantly complaining about what you don't have, you're probably not going to get very much income coming in. The other thing that helped me was that not only just admitting that I'm wealthy, and by the way, I said all that to say that by having those negotiations, I admitted to them, I'm wealthy, I have the value. Your money is not really what's valuable here. Your money can't go and sit at that desk and talk to those people on the phone. You need asses in the seats. You need people wearing headsets, talking to your customers, buying that product. You need people selling that product, and I am she. You can't do that. You can't sit $500 in that chair and make that happen. You're gonna have to pay me. You have to pay me. And eventually they did. Now, I did go on to do some other things, real estate and mortgages, and I stepped up, you know, my pay scale accordingly. And now I do this, and this is where I get my psychic income. And psychic income is just as important, if not more important, than dollars and cents. Because the fact that I get to do the work that I'm purposed to do, okay, it allows me a certain level of freedom. And I know that because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm doing what I'm purposed to do. I've always had this voice. I've always had, people have always listened to me and sought my advice and wanted to know what I thought. And I've always been an open enough vessel that I could open my mouth and just allow whatever to come out and trust that it is a direct download from universal forces and not question that. And because I have that ability, and because people trust that, people know me to be trustworthy. Most of my friends I've had 20 plus years. And, you know, the one thing that people say about me the most is, well, if Richelle says she's gonna do something, she's gonna do it. It gets done, you know? And that's not something that a lot of people can say about all of their friends and family. As a matter of fact, people complain about it. You know, just do what you say you're gonna do, and you told me you was gonna be here at 5 and it's 7:30 and you're just now pulling up, and you know, all this kind of stuff, you know. So the fact that I am so disciplined is a blessing to me. And it's a blessing that I choose to use to do the work that I'm purposed to do. And with that being said, I want to thank you for allowing me to live my purpose through you. It's really important to me. And I believe that this is how I get most of my money, because doing this makes me relax and write my books and publish my books. This is what lets me know that I'm on the right path. Now, what I do for money, this is what I do for, like I said, my psychic income. What I do strictly for money and fun, because it's fun, Forex trading. I love foreign exchange market because, like I said, money is my favorite subject. So that's something that I could do 3-4 hours a day, make the same income if I was working, 8, 9, 10 hours a day or more. And it's something that is fun because it's kind of a game, You're out there with the rest of the world, is all connected into this vast financial market. And I feel like I'm a part of this huge system because everybody uses money, you know? Unless you're on some remote island somewhere, everybody pretty much uses money. Whether it's the pound, the yuan, the yen, the euro, you know, the dollar, everybody uses money. And it's the biggest traded exchange out there. It operates 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. And everybody's in on this game. So when you travel and you exchange your, you know, dollars for euro or whatever, wherever you're going, I'm in on it. I'm right there with you, spiritually, you know, and physically, because I'm, you know, saying, okay, well, I bet, because this is basically what it is, I bet that the US dollar is going to trade higher than the euro. Or I bet that the Canadian dollar is going to trade higher than the yen. That's all I do. Make bets all day. And it's fun because it's like a big video game. You know, you seeing all of these, you know, numbers and letters going across the screen, and I've developed this really cool strategy that I get to implement every single day, and I get to see how good I am. And then when I'm done, I can put that down and I can write it. And I can prepare for moments like this. And I can look out and see all these beautiful faces and feel this energy and this love and enjoy what I'm doing. And I can do this just for satisfaction. I don't need to do this for money. I'm purposed to do this. I do other things for money, but this I do for fulfillment. This I could do all day, every day, for free. For free. I don't do it for free, but I could. So that's a great segue into career, because people think career and money is the same thing. It is not. That's two separate things. Your career should be, and that's a judgment, but it should be something that you would do for free. It should be something that you love, something you enjoy doing, because you're going to spend most of your time doing it. And unfortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, we are tasked with knowing what that something is by the time we're 18. And we're supposed to make a decision with 18 years of experience about what we want to do for the rest of our life. Not really, but that's what our society would have us believe, okay? But you don't have a whole lot of life experience. Depending on your background, you may not have a whole lot of life experience to make such an important decision. And so don't. Give yourself permission to dabble and find out what it is that you want to do. Give yourself the leverage of trying different things, experiencing different things. I told my son when he graduated from high school, you know, he had this girlfriend, and he's like, well, you know, I want to go to college, and I want to, you know, take care of her, and we're going to have a baby in 5 years, and he had this whole plan. I said, boy, get on a plane somewhere and go see the world. Just go. Just go. Take a trip. I don't care if you use Greyhound, the Megabus, rent a car. It don't matter. It's a big world out there. Go and see it. Get a passport. You know, get a passport and just go. Well, I'm a one-woman man. And boy, look, if you don't get out of here. And so his choice was, well, I'm going to go to the Navy. I'm going to go to the Navy because that way I get to see the world. They'll pay for college. Okay, here we go with this college thing again. I'll pay for college. You go see the world. But I won't pay for college unless you have some idea of what you want to do, because I don't want to waste my money. You know, I want you to have a more fuller understanding of all of the choices that are out there. And that way you can make a fuller, better, more intentional decision. No, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to hear that. You know, he borrowed some money and went to college. Whatever. I said, hey, that's your choice. You ain't getting my money. You know, but you go and do whatever you want to do. And he, you know, he's graduated from college and all of that, and now he's bartending. Hates it, but again, this is his, you know, experience, and this is his opportunity to dabble and see what it is that he wants to do. So he's, you know, doing a couple different things. I had to just recently reiterate to him, give yourself permission to dabble. You don't know what you're going to do. And what they didn't tell you, what I didn't tell you, what society didn't tell you, is that when you leave home, you have to start re-raising yourself. You have to drop everything I taught you and everything you thought you knew so that you can figure out who you are. And that will lead you to what your purpose is. If somebody had told me like 10 years ago that I would be doing this. This was not nowhere in my plan. But I'm glad I came to this because, again, this is what is fulfilling to me. This doesn't make me happy, but it definitely adds to my happiness. It brings out my happiness. I feel good when I'm addressing an audience with pertinent, relevant, important information like this. I can't think of anything else better. And because I know that the wealth is within me, it's in my voice, it's in my pen. I've written several books. I've published 2, but it took me 7 years to publish one of my books. I sat on this book for 7 years, not wanting to admit that that's powerful work, that's beautiful work, that people will get a lot of benefit and pleasure from. I wasn't ready to admit that I was already wealthy. But once I did, I realized I didn't have to work for money, and then my career, that thing that I do for fulfillment, that was able to spring forward, and I was able to actually see it and do it and feel of it. This was one of those things that, so I organized the meetup. Patsy, a colleague, close friend of Adam's, came, and she met me and said, "Oh my God, you're the female version of Adam."
She said I offended.
that is not an insult to me, Adam. So I came to meet this male version of Richelle, okay, because that's really how I see it. And I met Adam and was blown away by the similarities, and very. I felt I've never told Adam this, so this is gonna be his first time hearing this. But I did feel like I met my twin. I felt like we were separated at birth, and I felt like that I was looking into the eyes of someone that understood my soul. And I was like, okay, that's a lot. So I had to depart for a minute. And something brought me back. Something brought me back a few weeks ago. And Adam was like, "I'm so glad you walked in because I was just saying I need somebody that knows universal law." And 3 weeks later, here I am.
Yes.
And I have just really allowed lately, since about 2006, I've allowed my life to unfold the way the universe wants it to. And I learned that it's the way that I wanted to too. I didn't think it was the way that I wanted to because I had some plans. But like they say, we make plans and the universe says, "Ha! You're right. I got something else for you." That thing that you've been scared to do, that thing that you don't want to tell nobody about, that thing that you think is so big and so overwhelming and so cumbersome that it won't let you sleep at night because you know you want to do it. That's the thing that the universe is calling you to. And you can suppress it. You won't be able to suppress it for long. It's got to come out. It has no choice. That's what you were put here to do. And now we're going to move on to spiritual. And then I'll take some questions. So the spiritual guide in using law of agreement. And I left this one for last because I think this is the most important, and everything else springs from this. When I say to people, you have to love yourself, the first thing they think of is loving their body. And that is a part of it. That is a part of it. And they say, well, I do love myself. Okay. How do you show yourself that you love yourself? Well, I get manicures and pedicures. That's one way, but that's just pampering. It's a very small part of loving yourself. This is very self-loving. The fact that you're here, listening, taking the time out to gather this information, this is a very self-loving thing to do. Meditation, a very, very self-loving thing to do. I have a friend of mine, Tamika. She and I were talking, last week. She was supposed to be here this week, as a matter of fact. And she got called away because she said, I introduced her to the idea of Vipassana. Does anybody know what a Vipassana retreat is? Okay, I'm going to explain it. You know what okay. Vipassana retreat, Vipassana is a practice. It's just meditation. And when you go on a Vipassana retreat, it can be a 10-day or a 30-day experience, 10-day, 20-day, or a 30-day experience. And they have these Vipassana retreats all over the world. And what you do is you basically meditate all day. And it is a fast from everything. So no TV, no cell phone, no talking. You're not even to communicate with your eyes with other people that are at the retreat. The point of this is to be more in tune to yourself. And I went on this Vipassana retreat, and before I went, I really thought that I was like this really deep thinker, and that, I was just this really all-knowing soul, and that this Vipassana retreat was going to be really easy for me because I've been reading my spiritual books, and I've been practicing. Now I'm an ordained minister. I got this on a lock. I own this Vipassana retreat. And what I learned is that before I went, I had about the same 20 to 50 thoughts playing over and over and over. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I couldn't believe. I'm like, this is why my life is the way it is. This is it. The same exact, and it got louder and louder because you're not talking. You're not doing stuff to block it out. You're not on your phone. You're not on Facebook. You're not taking selfies. You just left with you. And you have no choice but to face yourself. And what they recommend is 30 days. But, most people go and do the 10-day first, and they go back for the 30-day. Or they go back for the 20-day and then the 30-day. And, it's funny because by the third day, they call everybody into this room and they say, okay, I know that you want to escape. I know that you're looking for, and people literally start thinking of, well, okay, maybe I can stage like an emergency at home. Okay, but I don't have my cell phone, so I can't say somebody. Like, you really go into like, how can I get out of this? Because you start to face yourself. All of those fears, all of those thoughts, all of those things that happened that you forgot, all the things that you did, every single element of you becomes a focal point. It comes to the surface. And you have no choice but to face it. But by the end of it, you are like a newborn baby. You are so pure and so refreshed. And you're like, well, if it happened yesterday, a bill collector call you like, look, I don't know about what you're talking about. Like that was last year. I don't know about that bill. It's funny. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you this story. So years ago, I had got this credit card, right? And it was with Capital One. And so, I built up my credit and blah, blah, blah. And I applied again, and they sent me, I have 2 Capital One credit cards. And so I recently applied for a mortgage. You apply for something, and, the lenders start pulling your credit, and all the information go out to the credit bureaus and blah, blah, blah. So this collection agency calls me, and they like, okay, so back in 2005, you had this credit card with Capital One. And I was like, no, me and Capital One made up. Like, we good. Like, we okay now. We're back friends. I have 2 of their cards. They're like, but you still owe this money. I was like, no, they said we good. Like, I have 2 of their credit cards. And they said, well, we bought the debt. Thank you. Thank you for paying them for me. And no, I paid them. But, and if I want my house, if I want to get my house, I have to pay them. But what was so funny was like, I had totally forgotten about that. I had totally freed myself. I was no longer bonded to the past. And I did have that conversation with the bill collector, but it was just really all out of fun. I was just really making light of the situation. And then I did pay them because I'm not worried about, paying some money. More money is always flowing into my experience. So here, take it, that's fine. But I did realize how free I was of my past and how it no longer bothered me that a bill collector was calling. I answer my phone now. There was a point in time where I would, if I didn't recognize the number, I'm not answering that. That might be a bill collector. Nope. And I would wait and see if they left a message, and if they did, I would listen to the message, and if it was somebody I want to talk to, I'd call them back. I don't do that any longer. I'm not fearful that someone's going to call me and ask me for something that I don't have, because I know myself to be spiritually wealthy. And if I need to have it, the universe will see to it that I have it. The universe will see to it that I have the proper message to deliver to you all today. So I don't have to worry about coming here and getting choked up. I don't worry about stage fright. I don't worry about not saying the right thing at the right time. As a matter of fact, when I write stuff down, I seldom go by it. You know, I come here with an intention, and I let that be. I let it be whatever it's going to be. And that's liberating. It frees me. And so the Vipassana retreat, I highly recommend, because that Vipassana retreat really gave me myself back. You know, it was a very self-loving thing to do, because think about it. I did the 30-day retreat. You're taking 30 days away from everything you know and love. You are out in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of people you don't know. And that's by design. They don't want you to be able to look around you and identify anything that reminds you of who you think you are. Okay? Because you can't lose yourself. You can't die to the past if you're looking around and everything is familiar. But that's also a very difficult position to be in, because you don't have anything to remind you of who you are. And the ego does not like that. The ego is like, wait a minute, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable for me. You're trying to kill me off, and I don't like it. The tool, the brain, starts to talk to you. And it starts to like, does everybody know what the amygdala is in your brain? It's like your fear center. And that's the part that holds the voice that says, danger, it's a car coming, you know, or danger, there's a bear. You know, but we're not running from tigers and lions and bears, so it says, danger, bill collector calling. Mm-hmm. You know, things that aren't even dangerous. You know, it tells us it's dangerous. And when you go to something like a Vipassana retreat and you love yourself and you give yourself that time, that 30 days to let all of that go, if the world implodes by me being gone for 30 days, it really wasn't much holding it together, you know? And I did come back to a totally different world. Relationship broke down, you know, got kicked out of my place, you know? And it was very difficult for me back then, because I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I was supposed to come back from this better. But that was the process of the universe saying, okay, good. You've let all of that go, so I can bring you all of this new stuff that you've been wanting, that I've been wanting to show you, but you couldn't see it. You know, your tool, your brain was in the way saying, no, this is good enough. Clinging and cleaving to every single thing in your experience, because you just want to be familiar. You just want to feel right. You just want to feel grounded, you know. And what I learned by going to Vipassana is that I feel even more grounded by letting all of that go. You know, I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. I'm a change junkie. You know, I love change. I enjoy it, you know, to the extent that it serves me, but I do enjoy it. What else do I want to say? Oh, exercise. Okay, that's another form of loving your body. I heard Adam say last week that he was avoiding exercise because he doesn't enjoy it. Adam, your tool is not interested in exercise because of what it thinks exercise is. So when you repackage exercise, you will be more motivated to do it. And that's with anything. And what I mean by repackaging exercise, it doesn't have to be going to the gym, lifting weights and getting on a treadmill. It can be playing tennis. It could be running with your dog. It could be taking a long walk. As a matter of fact, the absolute best exercise is a brisk walk. That's the most natural thing for your body to be doing. Okay? That is the fountain of youth. A brisk walk outside in nature, you know, not thinking about anything, not worried about anything, giving yourself that time to let go and do a what do they call it? A walking meditation. That's a walking meditation. And a walking meditation is really just going into your body, and I do the same thing with exercise. A walking meditation is just going into your body and feeling what part of my body feels best. Is there any pain anywhere? And you literally block out the whole world because you're so into yourself. You know, you're so into you. And that's what love is, isn't it? Being into you. So you start to feel your hip pick up your foot from the ground and you put it down and you just feel the sensation of that. You feel and you appreciate your ability to make that motion. You understand that your physical body is a universe in itself. And your heart beat all night without you having to do anything. You know, your blood flow, that's wealth. You know, you dreamt and you had thoughts and everything you breathed, everything that you needed to get you up the next day to make these movements was intact and working for you. All of that was working just for you. How loved do you feel about that? Like you had to have a cell that just knew how to be a blood cell. It just knew it. You had to have a cell that knew how to be an eyeball, that knew how to be a heart cell, a liver cell, a kidney cell. It just knew how to be skin. And it knows when to shed. And it knows when to darken because it's gotten a lot of sun. And it knows when to lighten. Your eyebrows know when to grow to protect you. Your hair knows when to grow and fall out. And these are things that we take for granted. You know, we wearing wigs and getting haircuts and doing all of this to try to, you know, control what our body is doing on our behalf. Do you know how much work goes into keeping you alive? If that's not wealth and love, y'all, I just don't know what is. And that's the beauty of life. You're already happy, you're already wealthy, you're already loved. And the reason why you look for love is because you want somebody to love you, so why don't you start by loving yourself? Giving yourself exercise, giving yourself proper nutrition and hydration. Now that's a big one. Proper nutrition and hydration is a very important self-loving thing to do. Food is your medicine, or it is a detriment to your health. And some people say, well, you know, Dr. Moore, what do you eat? Raw vegetables. Okay, but what do you eat? Raw vegetables. Well, what else? No, that's it, right? It's raw vegetables. That's it. That's what I eat. Well, I mean, don't you need meat? You know what? I enjoy meat. I don't not like meat. I don't not like the taste of it. But I see more value in vegetables. And since I see myself as valuable, that's what I eat. I see more value in purified water. So since I see myself as valuable, I choose what I value the most to feed my body with, because this thing has to sustain me. I like being here on earth. I know that I am, you know, this nebulous mist, this ghost, this spirit in this physical body, experiencing myself through other people who think they're individual, but they're actually another form of me. I get that, but I enjoy it. And for the time that I'm here, I want to take care of my vessel. You know, same way I wash my car and get my oil changes and tune-ups and all of that. You know, the same way I clean my home, launder my clothes. I'm gonna be way more vested in taking care of myself through meditation, sleep, proper sleep. That's another big one. People glorify, oh, I don't sleep. I'll sleep when I die. I'm just gonna work. Just gonna work. You know, and that's kind of off this notion that you gotta work hard. You gotta work hard. You gotta work hard. So who told us that you gotta work hard?
Parents.
People that wanted us to work for them. So what they gonna tell you? They're not gonna tell you, oh, just chill, the universe got you. No, they're gonna tell you, look, you gotta work hard to get these peanuts that I'm gonna pay you. And I'm only gonna pay you enough to bring you back next week, okay? I gotta make sure you're coming back. So I'm not gonna really give you what you worth, because if I did that, you would never come back. It ain't been enough money printed to pay you what you worth. But what I can give you is this currency, so you can go out and buy some stuff, so you can look worthy to your friends and family. And then they're gonna love you more. No, not really. They're not gonna love you any more or less. They're not gonna love you any more or less than they love themselves. Period. And someone may come into your experience thinking that, well, I have a mansion and I have a luxury car and I have a boat and I have a yacht and I have money, and so you should love me more for that. I'm not saying you shouldn't have those things. Those things are nice things to have, and I love the fact that there are people out there whose only job it is to find ways to make me more comfortable. I love that, you know. However, that doesn't make me more worthy. I do. And how I prove my worth is how I treat you. How I treat me. And how I treat me is very selfishly, because I know that when I give of myself to myself, I then have something to give away. When I give myself worthiness, value, love, joy, meditation, Vipassana retreats, or even just a trip, just fun. When I give myself fun, I sit and play solitaire for hours just because it's fun. Just because it's fun, just because I believe that having fun is a self-loving thing to do. Having fun is just as important as getting sleep. And I have some clients that are like, I can't do that. I can't have fun. I have to work. I got a mortgage. I got a car note. I can't have fun. You can't have happiness. Having fun is letting your happiness out. It's in there, but you gotta let it out. And people are there's a weird aversion to fun. Now, I will say this though. Men seem to be way better at having fun than women. Men seem to be, that's what I need to do, have fun. Okay, I do that. Women are like, have fun, but I have to do for my kids and my husband and my job. Men take to that fun thing, they quick. Men are quick. And I like that. I sometimes wish I could be more like that. I actually have to force myself. I have to say, okay, Richelle, it's fun time. You know, put that down. It is fun time. It's fun time. That's what I want to end on. It's time for you to have fun. It's time for you to get what you want. It's time for you to rebrand, repackage, revalue yourself. You know, it's time for you to be what you're looking for. Happiness, wealth, money, a great, fulfilling, satisfying career. Be that. Just be that. And it is my guarantee. I will give you my phone number and email address. And if you just be happy, admit that you're wealthy, admit that you're valuable, admit that you are loved, made of love, born out of love, living in love, wrapped in love, that you will have all of those things. And if it ain't true, call me. Because I'll tell you what you're doing wrong. I'll tell you why you're not letting it in or why you're not letting it out. And the thing about this matrix, the thing about this net, this vast net that connects you to everything and everyone, is that it only lets in what you let out. It only lets in what you let out. So if you let out energy, you get energy back. Energy in the form of money, energy in the form of things, energy in the form of fun, energy in the form, people, I don't have any energy. Yes, you do. You're not letting it out. I had this conversation with my son. He said, that's not true. When I don't have any energy, I just don't have any energy. I said, well, you don't have any energy because of the thoughts that you're thinking. If I ask you to go take out the trash and you say, I don't feel like it, what you're thinking is, I gotta get up, put on some shoes, go in the kitchen, open the pantry, pull the trash out, get the bag out, make sure it's all in there, tie it up, walk out the door, hoist it into the compactor, come back, put a trash bag in the trash. You're thinking about that whole process. You're worried about the future. You've gone too far. You've overthought it. That's why you don't feel like it. You've overthought it. But your body physically has the energy to do it. You're not letting it out because of your thoughts. So, let it out, and it'll be let in. Thank you for allowing me to live my purpose through you. It's really important to me. I love you so much. Thank you for listening.